Buzzkill? The smoke signals tonight Ottawa's plan to legalize marijuana could be in jeopardy. American police under scrutiny again.
Show me your hands! Gun, gun, gun!
California officers shoot and kill an unarmed black man. What was caught on camera and what's missing? And a hero for H2O.
This is serious and it's all over the world.
The Canadian teenager using her voice to fight for clean water.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. You've heard all the controversy about Facebook and how your personal data is being mined and exploited. Well, tonight we'll tell you how Canadian political parties are in on the game. All of them now use big data to micro-target you, figuring out what pushes your buttons based on your online activity, and then crafting specific ads that pop up in your Facebook feed. Winning is the goal. Smart data analysis is the key. It's not illegal, but as our chief political correspondent David Akin explains, it's happening right now in ways you probably aren't even aware of. David?
Yeah, that's right, Donna. And what we found was a very active Conservative Party with some aggressive attack-style ads, a moderately active Liberal Party with mostly positive messages featuring their leader, and a New Democratic Party with a campaign aimed at people concerned about tax cheats. Justin Trudeau visited New Brunswick today, and you can bet that for the people living there, their Facebook feeds would have been filled with Trudeau news, photos and videos, which made it a perfect time for the Conservatives to run a pile of Facebook ads that target New Brunswick Liberal MPs by name: Karen Ludwig, TJ Harvey, Alana Lockhart. They were all long-shot winners in 2015, and they all beat Conservatives. The ads are sure signs from the Conservatives that these ridings will be among their battleground ridings in 2019. Facebook knows enough about its users that it can promise political parties to deliver different ads to people in different ridings. But anyone in any riding can now see those different ads because Facebook recently made a change to its platform so that all ads are collected in one spot at each party's Facebook page. It's an important transparency measure. Just one catch: you can only see ads that are live right now. There is no archive of ads that ran, for example, last month. And so, as of breakfast this morning, here's the numbers on today's political Facebook ads. The Conservatives were running 247 different ads, and of those, 240 were attacking 16 different Liberal MPs for voting for a rule change that requires organizations wanting summer job grants to attest that they support a woman's right to choose. We think this is wrong. Sign if you agree, the Conservative ads say. The Liberals today had 25 ads on Facebook's network. Most featured an image of their leader. Trudeau is still the party's biggest asset. The Liberals are selling their budget. Do you support the Canada Workers' Benefit? Click here. The NDP had a small set of 4 ads up today, each one featuring an image of leader Jagmeet Singh, all focusing on the issue of tax fairness. And there you go, Donna. Micro-targeting in action, getting clicks and likes on hot-button issues. Exactly how modern political parties find supporters, engage with them, and motivate them to vote, volunteer, and donate.
Fascinating stuff. And David, as I said, this micro-targeting is perfectly legal. But what's the dark side to these attack ads that go out to millions in this individual way? It protects them from getting widely scrutinized.
Right. The dark side is disinformation, ads that torque the truth in the absence of any regulations on truth in advertising. It really is the Wild West out there. And we saw one such ad make its debut late this afternoon from the Conservatives. This ad warns that gun regulations introduced earlier this week are a, quote, backdoor attempt to bring back the long gun registry. But that's just not true. It's the Conservatives trying to stir up fear among gun owners. That said, because we can now see and monitor these kind of ads, journalists and opposing politicians can call these kinds of ads out.
All right. David Akin in Ottawa, thank you. The Canadian man who first blew the whistle on the huge Facebook data breach is being asked to appear as a witness before the House of Commons Ethics Committee. MPs want Chris Wylie to answer questions about the privacy implications for Canada related to the use of unauthorized Facebook data for political campaigns. The motion was adopted unanimously. Wylie will likely face tough questions about his relationship with the Liberal Party and a pilot project he worked on for public opinion research. Executives from Facebook, Amazon, and Google have also been called to appear. The American president had China in his sights today. Donald Trump imposed huge tariffs on Chinese imports, setting the stage for a trade war with the world's second-largest economy. Trump signed a directive authorizing $60 billion worth of tariffs on Chinese products. The announcement sent stock markets tumbling. They gained a bit of ground late in the day, but the Dow still closed down 700 points. Trump says the move is meant to protect American jobs and punish China for what he calls theft of U.S. intellectual property.
It is the largest deficit of any country in the history of our world.
Beijing rejects accusations it is unfairly taking advantage of the U.S. It, too, could retaliate, targeting a wide range of U.S. imports, notably agricultural and machinery products. And speaking of fighting words, former U.S. President Joe Biden has picked a fight with President Trump. He was speaking at an event to raise awareness about sexual assault, and he mentioned a recording of Donald Trump bragging about groping women. Then he said this.
They asked me, would I like to debate this gentleman? And I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Well, Trump punched back, tweeting, "He doesn't know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way." If Joe Biden decides to run, this could be a preview of what's to come in 2020. There's a political drama playing out on Parliament Hill right now, and it's all about pot. The Liberal promise to legalize marijuana may be in peril, thanks to senators who want to snuff it out. Mike LeCouture is watching this for us. Mike, is the plan for legal pot about to go up in smoke?
Well, it could, Donna. I mean, we're waiting for the vote right now in the Senate to send it beyond second reading. And here's where we stand at this point. You have the Conservatives on one side who have been threatening to kill this bill and force the government to craft a brand new one. On the other side, you have independent senators, most of whom were appointed by Prime Minister Trudeau, and they'll likely support it. Here's the little wrinkle, though. Even though those independent senators do outnumber the Conservatives, a number of those independent senators were out of town on Senate business, so they had to scramble back to Ottawa in the last 24 hours. Now, all of this has set up high drama in the upper chamber, and of course, it's on this key election campaign, and it's leaving it in the balance. Now, we do understand that enough of those Trudeau appointees did get back to Ottawa in time, and it's likely that this bill will pass. However, as we've seen in the past, Donna, you never know with this Senate.
And Mike, are the Tories doing this because they really don't want pot to be legalized, or is this just a political maneuver?
Well, it really all depends on who you talk to. I mean, if you forget here that we do have some Harper appointees left in the Senate, and they would like nothing more than to embarrass Trudeau on one of his key election campaign promises. There are, though, some who say, you know what, if we study this a little more, we can make some amendments. Others, though, think it's beyond salvageable.
You don't have the resources or the time to do that. This is so flawed. You wouldn't know where to begin or end with this.
The result is not determined by what we do. The result is determined, and let's make sure we understand each other. It's determined by what Senator Harder and the independent senators vote.
And don't forget, some of those Harper appointees are the same ones who used every tool in their possession in this upper chamber to ram through the then Prime Minister's will, including expelling 3 of their own senators. But today, Donna, they're saying they represent the chamber of sober second thought. What a difference a few years makes, doesn't it?
Sure does. So, Mike, the Liberals' original election promise was to legalize pot by July 1st. What's the time frame looking like now?
Well, at this point, ministers have had to walk that back. They continue to say they're still aiming for roughly summer, whatever that means at this point. But if these kinds of delays continue, I don't think there's any deadline that they'll actually be able to hang their hat on. Donna?
Okay, Mike LeCouture in Ottawa tonight. Thanks. A stark warning tonight from Britain's Prime Minister. Theresa May told European leaders they will be under threat from Russia for years and need to work together to counter that threat. And there's a of Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia. The military-grade nerve agent they were attacked with in Salisbury, England, may have left them with permanent brain damage. Both are still heavily sedated. Samples of their blood are being independently examined by chemical weapons experts to confirm the British conclusion it was a Russian-made nerve agent. Meantime, a police officer who was poisoned while helping Skripal and his daughter was released from hospital today. Theresa May blames Russia for the attack, and today Russia's ambassador to the UK rejected that accusation and doubled down with one of his own.
She provided no proof of Russia's alleged involvement. Could it mean that it's highly likely that the British authorities already had this nerve agent in their chemical laboratory in Portdown?
Moscow is demanding access to the blood samples from Skripal and his daughter so it can carry out its own investigation. Britain has declined. Coming up, new rules at a Florida school after a massacre. What every student there must pack from now on. And police under investigation, the shooting that left an unarmed black man dead in his backyard.
You're watching Global National.
People living along the U.S. East Coast are doing some spring cleaning. Millions are digging out from a fourth nor'easter in just 3 weeks. The huge storm dumped more than 40 centimeters of snow in some areas, and it knocked out power to tens of thousands of people. Icy roads and whiteout conditions have caused hundreds of car crashes in several states, and at least 3 people have died from weather-related incidents. The Florida high school where a gunman killed 17 people last month has a new policy. Students are now required to use clear backpacks and wear ID badges at all times. The backpacks will be provided to students at no charge when they return from spring break next week. 19-year-old former student Nicholas Cruz is accused of carrying in an assault weapon and opening fire. Administrators are also weighing whether to install metal detectors at entrances to the school. Police video has been released that has outraged people across the United States. It shows police officers in Sacramento shooting and killing a black man in his backyard, thinking he had a gun. It turned out to be a cell phone. The body cam footage shows the split-second decision before they fired. But as Jackson Prosco reports, what's missing are some crucial minutes of audio.
Running south, running to the south. The chase began after calls about a man smashing windows.
Hey, show me your hands! Stop! Stop!
On the ground, police followed a suspect into a backyard where body cameras captured what happened when one officer thought he saw a gun.
Show me your hands! Gun!
In those brief seconds, police fired at least 20 shots at 22-year-old Stephon Clark, killing him in his grandparents' backyard, the home where he lived. After several minutes, they approached his lifeless body, finding no gun, just the cell phone he was carrying. 6 minutes after the shooting, an arriving officer directed his colleague to mute his body camera. The Clarks demand to know what was said.
You're muting something you don't want the public to hear what you're saying. And that means that if you don't want the truth to come out, then all of it is a lie.
The release of the police video came just 3 days after the incident. Sacramento police say it's a move designed to ensure transparency as they investigate what went wrong. The officers involved are now on leave.
We want everybody to see the video, and that's why we made it a priority, so that everybody has the opportunity to see what we have the opportunity to see.
Hardly comforting to Clark's family. His brother wants him to be remembered along with other men who've died at the hands of law enforcement.
I want justice for his children, for my family, for my mother, my grandmother.
So far this year, an estimated 230 people have been killed by police in the U.S. A disproportionate number are African American. Body cameras are supposed to bring accountability and perhaps stop it from happening again. But for the family of Stephon Clark, the disturbing images silenced by officers raise more disturbing questions. Jackson Prosco, Global News, Washington.
New details are emerging tonight about the final days of Stephen Paddock. He's the man behind the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Eerie surveillance footage from the Las Vegas hotel where he carried out the massacre shows Paddock going about his business, gambling and interacting with staff and guests. The footage also shows him dragging multiple suitcases into the hotel. We now know they were filled with weapons and ammunition. Paddock killed 58 people when he opened fire at a concert in Las Vegas in October. Forensic crash analysts are examining another disturbing video. It shows a self-driving Uber test vehicle hitting a pedestrian who was walking her bike across a road. The images show the Uber car running into the woman. Another camera angle shows the human driver looking down most of the time, then looking up just before impact. Some experts say the car's sensors should have detected the pedestrian. The video is likely to be a key piece of evidence in the ongoing investigation into the collision and into whether self-driving technology needs more work. Ahead, what this Canadian professor said on Twitter and how another university is grappling to deal with it. The debate over free speech is gaining strength at another university in Canada. It involves Acadia University professor Rick Mehta. He's said things on Twitter his critics say are demeaning at best, hateful at worst. As Ross Lord reports, the case is once again exposing the need for a new approach to free speech on campus.
Rick Mehta intentionally challenges conventional schools of thought. As a psychology professor at Acadia University, Mehta says it's the favorite part of his job.
Apart from giving facts to students, I'm trying to teach them how to become informed citizens.
But to many, Mehta has crossed the line, from freedom of expression to hiding behind free speech to make demeaning comments. He's posted statements like Acadia can fight racism by abandoning its commitment to social justice, that he stands with Halifax founder Edward Cornwallis, and more recently claiming white privilege is a racist expression. After receiving complaints from some of his students, Acadia's administration has decided to investigate. And activists, like Jessica Durling in Halifax, want him fired.
Free speech is about being able to challenge authority, being able to ask the tough questions, not pointlessly attack and target marginalized groups.
Mehta insists online messaging doesn't seep into his classroom.
The environment I create in the classroom is one where everyone's viewpoint will be respected.
We were hoping to see for ourselves what it's like inside Professor Mehta's classroom. In fact, he invited us in, but the university administration refused us access, saying our presence would be disruptive to students. The number of those students is shrinking.
The class numbers have seemed to decrease drastically.
Although this student says he appreciates Mehta's teaching style.
It's trying to be like, show you that you're going to be in situations where you're going to have two opposing opinions and just how to deal with that. That's what I kind of take out of that.
Mehta says he fears being fired, claiming some courses have already been taken away from him. Now there's a second investigation. A national teachers organization is launching an inquiry to see if Mehta is being shut down for merely promoting debate around ideas.
We have seen in the past couple of years a number of cases where professors may say some things that some people find offensive or controversial, and universities so far seem to be taking an ad hoc approach to it.
He hopes the case will lead to better guidelines for other schools facing an increasingly volatile issue. Ross Lord, Global News, Wolfville, Nova Scotia.
There's some breaking news tonight from Quebec. The Crown will not be filing criminal charges against a Radio-Canada reporter who was arrested while doing his job. Antoine Trepanier was arrested last week after requesting an interview with Yvonne Dubé, the head of Big Brothers and Sisters in Western Quebec. She claimed he was harassing her and she called the police. Investigators have determined Trepanier did not commit a crime.
What if we ran out of water?
A young Canadian water warrior's urgent call to action. That's coming up.
To share with all of you. I have been guided here.
Keep going, keep going.
They're free at last. The small community of Heart's Delight, Newfoundland is celebrating a heartwarming rescue tonight. A pod of dolphins became trapped in pack ice in a shallow harbor on Sunday. And when people in town heard about the animals' ordeal, they quickly swung into action. A shift in the wind today allowed an excavator to clear a channel for the stranded dolphins, allowing them to swim to freedom.
It was a whole lot of just waiting to make sure that they were going to make it out, but once they finally made it out to clear water, it was a big sigh of relief and for everyone.
And despite being stuck for days, fisheries officials say the white-beaked dolphins all appear to be healthy. Well, just like dolphins, water is essential to our lives. It's more than just something to quench our thirst. Water is vital for health, for our economies, and human development. Yet there are more than 660 million people around the world without access to clean water. A young girl is now fighting to reduce that number. Mike Drolet introduces us to Canada's newest water warrior.
When you hear Autumn Pelletier speak, you quickly forget she's only 13. Water is her issue, and she's passionate. Living in a First Nations community on Manitoulin Island, she questions why, if we have so much fresh water, there are 79 First Nation communities within Canada that are living under boil water advisories. Today, she brought her message to the UN in New York.
This work that I'm doing is not for fun. I'm lending my voice to speak up for water and Mother Earth. No one should have to worry if the water is clean or if they will run out of water. No child should grow up not knowing what clean water is or never knowing what running water is.
On World Water Day, there are 11 major cities that are drying up because of drought, pollution, and wastefulness. And of course, there's Cape Town, South Africa, which is about to become the first major city to run out of water completely. California is in desperate need of water, and Lake Mead, which supplies Las Vegas, has seen its water levels drop almost 40 meters since 2000.
You give him the tobacco.
Autumn Pelletier was inspired to become an advocate by her aunt, who walked the shores of all 5 Great Lakes to raise awareness for water conservation. Autumn's work has led to her being nominated for the International Children's Peace Prize. A year ago, she met Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Referencing those boil water advisories and the oil pipelines, she said she was unhappy with his choices. His response? He said he promised to protect the water. Donna?
All right, Mike Drolet, thank you. And that is Global National for this Thursday. I'm Donna Friesen. Tonight's Your Canada is Bears Paw, Alberta. We'd love to see your Canada. Please email it to viewers@globalnational.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you here again tomorrow. Bye-bye.